Hello, I'm Stephen Ho, trader and founder of The Stop Hunter. In this video, Tesla, can it go any higher in 2021 after such a mega last year? Also, my top 10 alternative EV stocks to trade and invest in 2021, plus my top tip for finding those moving EV stocks to trade in. Firstly, a risk disclaimer. Trading involves a high degree of risk and can lead to large financial losses. Always seek the help of a qualified financial advisor, and the content within this video is and should not be construed as investment advice and is only presented for informational and educational purposes. So Tesla, well, what a monster 2020. Now the world's biggest car company by market cap, a near 700% rise in its stock price. So the big question then, which is on everyone's minds, and where to find the next hot thing is, can Tesla go higher even still in 2021? Well, the simple answer is yes, it can, because of really 5 main reasons. One, it's a FOMO stock, fear of missing out. It's up there with the Bitcoins, the Amazons, those type of investments everyone's talking about. That's a good thing because it gives the company momentum. Also, everyone's talking about EV, electric vehicles, so there's a reason to buy into the stock. Those short doomsayers of Tesla may be killed off now, so it's looking more bullish. The company's more stable. They're delivering on their numbers. They're producing a good range of cars. They've got infrastructure, they're diversifying. And finally, Elon Musk. He's become a much more sorted person, a more business approach, and he in himself, I suppose, more stable. And as we've seen, he's rocking up that rich list and becoming a very successful businessman. So those 5 points, I think, give Tesla the momentum to push on into 2021. So let's have a look at some charts just to see where potentially, not necessarily where it will go, but potentially where the price could head over the remainder of the year. So here we have a weekly candlestick chart for Tesla going back to the beginning of 2019, and you can see for most of 2019 to 2020 it's really not done much in terms of price, and then this year, bang, it's off to the races up to the 700 level. So that is an amazing run up for 1 year. But how can you predict or even guess where the price is going to next? Very tricky, but there's some technical tools that we can use to give us an idea. I like to use a tool in the charts here based around Fibonacci just to give me a rough idea. It's called the trend-based Fibonacci extension, and I'm going to look from the lows of that takeoff in 2020 around 16th of March up to the top where we are now, pull it back down, and we have some levels, and actually the top level, the predicted level, is off the screen. Let's tidy it up, and we can actually see up here we're in the 1100s for Tesla. How long it takes to get there, who knows, but that is a potential upside. But if we wanted some shorter term targets in the near term, again, go back to the tool and then find a shorter trend. We got this one from beginning of November running up to now. Same process, highs to lows, back down again, and we've got numbers around the 900, and unsurprisingly Fibonacci pulling in around that 1100 area again. So that's looking quite strong for potential upside. So 900, 1100, the potential technical analysis upside based on Fibonacci. Like I said, that's not to mean to say it will get there, but it could potentially get there, and there'll be other clues that we'll talk about later when we look at the alternative stocks, as in how you can find out whether it is more likely to head there or not. And for risk management purposes, our chart using the Fibonacci extensions also gives us some downsides if it went wrong, or where you want to put your stops. We've got an interesting level in the shorter term, just under 600, then around 500, and then we've got a much longer term one in the late 400s. So there's three downsides where you could potentially put your stop, either if this potential bullish one doesn't happen, or like I say, just for stops for more bullish trades. So Tesla looks really great still for 2021, but are there any other alternative EV stocks out there, electric vehicle stocks or related to the EV market, that are worth looking at as alternatives to Tesla? I think there are. I think there's 10 really good ones, and we're going to take a look right now. So the first thing we need to know is really that the EV sector is becoming one of those FOMO sectors, i.e. everyone's talking about it, and that's good for many reasons, because it means it gives that sector the momentum to push on and gives us opportunities into other stocks. But it also brings downsides. It means it's a boom and bust sector possibly, and stocks will come and go. And that means, yes, the stocks might take off to the stars, or alternatively your journey of trading might feel more like you're riding a roller coaster. So you've got to be prepared for a lot more volatility in this type of stock when trading. And the other second factor, which is good for the EV sector, is that there are really good fundamental reasons for trading EV stocks. The world is changing. Everyone's moving to electric vehicles. It's been put in stone by governments, environmental bodies. We have to move in that direction. So therefore there's a reason, apart from the FOMO, to get invested in this sort of stock. So now let's take a look at my top 10 for 2021. So at number 10 we've got Candy Technologies, possibly good value, but I think highly speculative. It's a Chinese parts, off-road, go-karts, motorcycles company. It has potential, but like you see, it does also have a lot of volatility assigned to it and not a lot of price data to go off of, so possibly speculative. At number 9 we've got another speculative stock in my opinion. That is Nikola. Nikola from the first name of Nikola Tesla. Price around $15, but again look at that volatility down the bottom of the chart, 200%, an awful lot there. So I think, yes, another speculative play. They have had relationships with GM. There's a lot of short sellers there. Just one to watch, I think, for the coming year. At number 8, Fisker. If you like good looking cars, then this is the stock for you. Not a lot of history there to go by, still a lot of volatility, and again in my opinion quite speculative. Now at number 7 we have Xpeng, a Chinese company, price around $42. Still high volatility, dropping off maybe to around about 100% per annum. It's a smart EV company, but could become one of the big players, and the chart actually not looking too bad. But again, it is one of those FOMO stocks that more and more people are talking about, so definitely one to keep an eye on. At number 6 we have Helion Holdings. I hope I pronounced that correct. Around $16. Pretty chunky on the volatility, up to double hundreds. Not a lot of price history because it's quite a new company in terms of floating on the stock market, and again I would put it as a speculative stock. Like I said, a hybrid full electric power train solutions company and tech development, so it's got some potential upside there, but at the moment at best I could only really see it as speculative. At number 5 we have Workhorse, and this is really interesting company, a lot more price history as we can see. So it's a weekly chart there, volatility still very high in the late hundreds. Upside, yes, looking quite nice. It's a cars, planes, cargo, vans, drones business, so covering all sort of sectors. It's an old GM business unit and is growing very fast, so definitely one to keep on the radar for 2021. Now at number 4 we have Blink charging, and this is getting to be a real FOMO stock. As you can see, I've got a lot more price history there, and recently it has really taken off. Volatility is up in the 200s. It is a company that produces electric vehicle charging equipment. They recently bought Yugo stations. They have a lot of potential to grow here. They're in the early $40, and like I said, one that people keep a close eye on and like to speculate on, and falls nicely into that FOMO bracket. Now at number 3 we really do have a FOMO stock here, Neo. Massive interest of late. The chart doesn't look too bad there on the weeklies. Volatility around 100%. Like I said, this one is followed by the masses. They're looking for an excuse. It's Chinese car manufacturer. They could go big over in China, so definitely one for the stock hot list. Now at number 2 we have General Motors, and that might surprise you, wondering why I put this old dinosaur in the mix. Well, actually they're tasked with producing 30 electric models by 2025. They've got great fundamentals, and actually they've got a lot of know-how, experience and buy-in to other organisations to get ahead in the EV market. So I think actually it's a great one to watch out for 2021. And here we have it. We've reached number 1, and it's Apple. Now you're wondering, why is Apple at number 1? And you're right to ask that question, and I'm going to put a big caveat in here for why I picked it as number 1, because as yet they haven't really produced any electric vehicles, but of late they have threatened to create their own EV cars, autonomous cars, and if they do, I think it's really going to propel the Apple price further, along with all the other products. The mix, it's a FOMO stock, it's got lots going for it. We all know about Apple, and it could potentially become even bigger and capitalise on the growth of the EV market. So the caveat there is, watch out if they do go into cars, electric cars. Keep a close eye on this one, because it certainly will be at number 1, and they'll want to be at number 1 if they go into this market. So there you go, there's my top 10. So we want to trade these things, and I've pointed out that they can be extremely volatile. So how do we know with a bit more certainty, other than maybe using technical analysis, that these stocks are going to move where we want them to, or how do we even find out if they're going to move at all? Well, here's my hot tip, and something you might want to look into to get a bit more certainty into your decision making. So my top tip for today is to get into something called unusual options activity. Now in front of you can see something from a company called Barch. I have nothing to do with them in terms of affiliates. Something I use for in my trading because it's quick and easy to scan for, but they're very useful. I'll put a link in the description below so you can follow them if you want to. But it's a simple table here. There's lots of different filters you can create, but you can see we've got Tesla, TSLA ticker over there, showing me what the options activity in calls and puts is in relation to the stock that I might look at. Now the big traders, the big boys of the world, will be using put and call options quite often to trade instead of just the stock itself, for various reasons. But for us, it gives us an insight into where they want or think the market is going to go to. So we can use our technical analysis, our fundamental analysis, and then when we use things like unusual options activity, it can point us in the direction for a potential target. So things to look out on this filter here, for example, days to expiry, how long the idea is going to last, the price to the current stock price to the strike price to see a target, and the volume to the open interest ratio to see how unusual that activity is. So it's a great thing to use, like I say, in combination with fundamentals and technicals, as it gives us an extra sort of idea of where things are going to go. So my top tip this video. So there you have it. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you found it very useful. We've looked at Tesla, we've looked at 10 possible alternatives, and we've also looked at a way of making your trade decision making more certain by looking at unusual options activity. So well, if you've liked today's video, please hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button, because I'm producing a lot more content over the coming months that I think you're all going to be very interested in. And anything else we've discussed about in the video will be in the description below, along with any links around technical analysis, bar charts, the stocks we've looked at. It's all down below. So if I don't hear from you before, I look forward to seeing you in the next video.